Have you ever felt like the world is losing its way, like goodness and wisdom are fading in a sea of chaos? Psalm 14 speaks to this very struggle, revealing the brokenness of humanity and pointing us to the hope we have in God. Let's reflect on these ancient words together. The psalm begins with a bold statement. The fool says in his heart, "There is no God." It's not just about someone who denies God's existence. It's a mindset. It's living life as though God doesn't matter, ignoring his presence and guidance. How often do we fall into this trap? Maybe we don't say those words outright, but our actions sometimes show otherwise. I can remember times in my own life when I relied entirely on my own strength, thinking I could handle everything. But eventually, the weight became too much, and I was reminded that I can't do it alone. I need God. David continues by describing how God looks down from heaven, searching for those who understand and seek him. But he finds that all have turned aside. Together they have become corrupt. It's a humbling thought. We often think of ourselves as good people, but this verse reminds us that true goodness isn't about our actions alone. It's about our hearts. I used to think being a good person was enough, but even then, there was a sense of emptiness I couldn't explain. It wasn't until I turned my focus to God that I began to understand what true goodness is. It's not about what we can do. It's about seeking him and letting his righteousness work through us. David's imagery of the evildoers in verse 4, "Those who eat up my people as they eat bread," hits hard. It reflects a world where exploitation and selfishness are commonplace. We see it all around us today, whether in large systems of injustice or in everyday moments of people taking advantage of others. If you've ever felt used, overlooked, or drained, these words resonate deeply. But verse 5 is a promise. God is with the generation of the righteous. No matter how overwhelming the world feels, God stands with those who seek him. This is such a powerful reminder that even when the odds seem stacked against us, we are not alone. The psalm closes with a cry for hope. Oh, that salvation for Israel would come out of Zion. David longs for the restoration of God's people. For us, this points directly to Jesus Christ, who came to bring salvation not just for Israel, but for all. It's a message of hope that no matter how broken things may seem, God's plan is always at work. He is restoring, redeeming, and calling us back to him. As I reflect on this psalm, I'm reminded of how relevant it is today. It challenges us to look inward and ask, are we seeking God in our lives? Are we trusting him when the world feels heavy and chaotic? I've found that the moments when I feel the most distant from God are often the moments when I've stopped seeking him. But the beautiful thing about God is that he is always there, ready to be our refuge. Let's take a moment to pause and reflect. Maybe there's an area of your life where you've been trying to go it alone, or maybe you know someone who's struggling to believe in God. Take a moment to pray for yourself, for them, and for the world. Psalm 14 reminds us that God sees it all. He is with those who seek him, and his salvation is available to all. Even though this psalm begins with a sobering look at humanity's condition, it ends with hope. God's salvation is real, and his redemption is certain. Let's live in that truth this week, seeking him, trusting him, and sharing his love with others. If this reflection encouraged you, share it with someone who might need to hear it. Let us know in the comments how God has been your refuge. And don't forget to like and subscribe so we can continue this journey through the Psalms together. Next time, we'll explore Psalm 15. See you there. Lord, thank you for being our refuge and for seeing us in the midst of our struggles. Help us to seek you in all we do and to live with the hope of your salvation. Guide us to be a light in this world, trusting that you are with us always. Amen